After her father gets engaged, Emma and her pet squirrel, Julie, move in with her 13 new stepbrothers. At the door, she is greeted by the oldest son, Moseami, and the youngest son, Wataru. In the living room, she is hugged by Tsubaki, the 5th son, who is then quickly hit on the head by his twin brother, Azusa, the 6th son. Lukio, the 2nd son and a lawyer, introduces himself while serving tea. Emma is surprised to find out that one of her classmates, Yusuke, is also one of her new brothers. Subaru and Kaname, the 9th and 3rd sons respectively, also come in and introduce themselves. Emma is further surprised to learn that the super popular singer, Fudo, is another one of her stepbrothers, although he is currently on tour in Hokkaido, so she won't meet him until later. As they chat in the living room, Emma, exhausted from moving all her things by herself, becomes dizzy from a fever and goes to her room to rest. Louis, the 8th son, comes home from work and says hello to her before joining the other brothers to prepare dinner. Later, Emma bumps into Kaname outside her room, and he kisses her on the cheek. She asks him to stop teasing her because she knows he's a nice person. After he leaves, she decides to take a shower, and accidentally runs into Subaru, who is only wearing a towel. Embarrassed, she rushes back to the living room where the twins, Tsubaki and Azusa, are apparently confessing their love for each other. Emma tries to leave, but Tsubaki laughs and explains they are just rehearsing a script, as they are both voice actors. Finally, Emma returns to her room, wondering what adventure she has gotten herself into. After the ending song, Yusuke is shown lying in his bed, questioning why Emma has to be his sister. It's a new day for Emma, who helps Ukio make breakfast for the brothers. Later, she heads to school with Yusuke. In class, Yusuke, who has had a crush on his new stepsister long before she became his sibling, is seen staring at Emma. Back home, Emma meets Fudo, who calls her his silly, beautiful sister. She also greets Ukio, who asks her to bake a birthday cake for Subaru. After returning from the market, she finds Louis asleep on a couch in the living room. He wakes up and immediately insists on doing her hair. While styling it, he realizes the curling iron is broken, and rushes off to find a new one. Fudo walks in, demands to know where Louis is, and storms out when he isn't home. Once Louis finishes Emma's hair, she bakes and decorates Subaru's birthday cake. The brothers, including a blushing Subaru, are impressed by the beautiful, fruit-covered cake. Later, Emma goes to the living room where Tsubaki is teasing Subaru about liking Emma in a non-sibling way. Embarrassed and quite drunk, Subaru says hurtful things and realizes Emma heard it all. He tries to apologize but ends up kissing her, and then passes out on top of her. The twins arrive and pull Subaru off Emma. When they ask what happened, she covers for Subaru, insisting it was an accident. The next day, Emma visits a media store and sees Fudo. She calls out his name loudly, blowing his cover. He shoves his CDs into her hands and tells her to rent them for him before rushing off. At home, she gives the CDs to Fudo, and he whispers suggestively that he will give her a punishment in her room. After the ending song, the twins receive a message from one of the brothers they haven't met yet, saying he will be coming home soon. Fudo and Emma walked into her room together, and Fudo told her to lock up Julie. Emma ended up putting Julie in a bag next to her bed as they watched a movie together. After the movie, they started talking, and Fudo told Emma he would call her sis from now on. Just as he was about to kiss her, Yusuke walked into her room and dragged Fudo out, leaving behind a college form about where she wanted to go to school. Later, Julie was still angry at Emma for locking him up and wouldn't listen to her. Louis revealed that he could understand Julie, and they promised to protect Emma together. Emma asked Moseami to come to the parent-teacher conference, but Kaname came instead. Kaname pointed out that Emma wanted to go to the same college as Subaru, while Yusuke hadn't decided where he wanted to go. Yusuke got angry and yelled that he wanted to go to the same college as Emma. Later, Emma met the cross-dressing 4th son, Hikaru. On the day of the wedding, Louis did Emma's hair, and she wore the dress her stepmother and father had bought for her. When she walked into the chapel, she met the last of her brothers, Tsubaki and Azusa's triplet, Natsum. Emma found out that Natsum worked at one of her favorite game companies, and he offered to give her samples of new games. He also asked how Subaru was, but she said she didn't really know. Then Natsum took a business call. In the end, the boys welcomed Emma to their family properly. After the ending, Natsum came home and noticed Subaru's expression towards Emma in the family photo. Tsubaki and Azusa discover that the first anime they ever worked on is getting a second season. Excited, they both decide to audition. Tsubaki tries out for the lead role, while Azusa auditions for the lead's rival. Later, Tsubaki finds out that he didn't get the part. Instead, Azusa did. Meanwhile, Emma gets a game demo from Natsum. She defeats all the enemies but doesn't level up, so she calls Natsum for help and they meet at a cafe. Natsum explains that if you don't level up in the previous stage, you won't level up in the desert stage. Their conversation is interrupted by Azusa, who calls Natsum asking if he's seen Tsubaki. Natsum tells Emma that Azusa got the lead role instead of Tsubaki. Emma walks home and finds Azusa sitting in front of the house. She tells him that quitting wouldn't make Tsubaki happy, and that she likes his voice. Just as Azusa is about to say, no, he won't, Tsubaki appears and says, yes, I wouldn't be happy. Tsubaki urges Azusa to call his manager, and accept the role. Then, Tsubaki asks Emma to join him in a comforting party. He asks if she likes his voice too, and she says yes. She adds that it doesn't matter who wins or loses as long as you stay true to yourself. Tsubaki kisses Emma and says, for a guy to get back on his feet, all he needs is a kiss from a cute girl. He kisses her again, and, in shock, she doesn't resist. Since there are almost no ingredients left for dinner, and only a few people can make it home, they decide to go flower viewing. They also invite Natsume and Subaru to join them once they finish their activities. Natsume arrives just as Emma is about to buy drinks, and Subaru joins them after meeting Emma on the road. Wataru starts talking to a duck near the pond, getting dangerously close to the edge. Natsume rushes over to grab him, but as he lunges, Wataru trips backward, and Natsume ends up falling into the pond. They decide to head home, and Natsume takes a shower. He decides to stay home for a while, still curious about the connection between Subaru and Emma. The next day, Julie gets sick from eating too many nuts. Despite Julie's protests, Emma decides to go to Subaru's basketball game, where she meets Natsume. Natsume offers her a ride home after the game since it starts raining, but he gets a phone call and has to leave for a bit. Subaru rushes over, despite having another game later, and confesses that he hopes she can always be by his side. Natsume returns and angrily scolds Subaru for not staying with his team for the next game. Subaru leaves, and Emma goes home with Natsume. After the ending song, Subaru is seen blushing and talking to Julie about confessing to Emma, unaware that Julie understands every word. Fudo starts attending the same high school as Emma. The stepbrothers and Emma decide to look at baby pictures, and Emma finds one of Azusa. Seeing that she never had her own photo album, Azusa gives her one. While Emma is downstairs putting pictures into the album, Tsubaki shows up, kisses her again, and tells her he really likes her. Azusa arrives, pushes Tsubaki away, and admits he can't scold Tsubaki because he feels the same way about her. Fudo stars in a new commercial, prompting the family to plan an overseas trip during summer vacation so Emma and Yusuke can take a break from their exams. In class, they decide to host a butler cafe for the cultural festival. After a long day of preparations, Emma goes home and falls asleep on the couch. She wakes up to find Yusuke's face right in front of her, which freaks her out. He explains that he thought she might be cold and was only looking for a minute or two, but Fudo interrupts and starts teasing Yusuke. Eventually, Tsubaki stops their argument. The next day, Azusa enters the kitchen where Emma is and collapses from dizziness. Hikaru comes in and realizes Azusa has a fever from overworking and orders him to rest. Emma ends up being late to class and discovers that their butler cafe has been changed to a butler and maid cafe. Next door, Fudo is dressed as a vampire and playfully kisses Emma on the neck, leaving a vampire mark. When she gets home, Tsubaki notices the mark and reminds her that he already confessed his feelings to her. Tsubaki starts arguing with Emma, but Azusa steps in, telling Tsubaki that he's being too pushy about Emma's feelings. Tsubaki gets angry, and while Azusa tries to calm him down, he passes out mid-argument. Tsubaki tries to catch him but misses. Azusa collapses on the floor, and Tsubaki and Emma stand there in shock. Masayomi walks in and tells Emma to call an ambulance. Azusa is then shown in a hospital bed, still unconscious but stable. Emma goes home and finds Tsubaki with his face in his hands. He tells her he can no longer feel the connection he had with Azusa as twins. He also says he feels he has no right to visit him, thinking he might be the cause of Azusa's collapse. That night, Tsubaki has multiple nightmares about his job, Azusa's health, and Emma's feelings for him. He finally wakes up to Natsume's worried face. The next day, Emma visits Azusa with a change of clothes. Azusa tells her he has meningitis and will be released soon. Emma thanks him for stopping Tsubaki the other night, but Azusa responds that she shouldn't thank him. He confesses that he is also in love with her, and admits he was interrupting, just as Tsubaki had said. Emma goes home and meets Tsubaki at the door, who has decided to visit Azusa. A few minutes later, Emma gets a text from Azusa asking for a list of books and DVDs. She goes to the hospital with Yusuke after buying the items, but leaves after seeing Tsubaki and Azusa making up. Natsume sees her walking and sends her home by car. At home, Ukiyo tells her that the official family register papers for her new passport are ready and she should pick them up later. The next day, Emma visits Azusa again. He tells her he will do his best for his feelings and won't lose to anyone because he loves her the most, then kisses her on the forehead. At the end of the episode, Emma is seen getting the family register certificate for her passport and opens it, staring at it in shock. Emma discovers that she is the adopted daughter of Rintaru. Feeling depressed and like an outsider, she decides not to return to the mansion. Worried when Emma doesn't come back and won't answer her phone, Natsume finds her. He asks her to return because everyone is worried, but she refuses, so he takes her to his apartment. There, she shares her feelings about her identity, feeling sad that Natsume can't understand because he isn't adopted. She decides to go back to the mansion, but Natsume pulls her into a hug, saying she is not unwanted, and then kisses her. He asks her to stay over at his apartment since it's too late to go back, and she agrees. The next day, Louis and Julie come to pick her up and take her to a park. Louis tells her that he is also adopted and used to feel like an outsider, but Miwa treated him like all the other sons. He explains that it is the heart that connects people, not blood. In a dream, Julie tells Emma that he knew about her parents but was afraid to tell her. Before she wakes up, Julie confesses that he loves her. This makes Emma feel much better, and they head back to the mansion. Later, Masaami suggests that he should act as a father figure in Rintaru's absence for Ima's sake, but acknowledges it will be rather difficult for him. As the family trip gets cancelled due to everyone's busy schedules, Kaname invites everyone to his Buddha Club event, where he's the host. Natsume, Emma, Ukyo, Masaami, Azusa, Furo, and Wataru agree to go on the trip since the rest of the brothers are busy. On their way, Hikaru asks Emma if anything happened at Natsume's apartment, which startles Natsume. Natsume assures Hikaru that nothing happened because they are siblings, and Emma agrees. Hikaru then asks if anything happened at the hospital, surprising Azusa. Azusa insists nothing happened, but Natsume looks at him suspiciously. At the festival, Wataru asks Emma to show him around. They see Fudo's concert, and later a guy named Chiaki, a friend of Kaname, meets Emma and asks if she's a follower. Kaname intervenes and explains they are siblings. Another monk named Yuusei tells them to attend to customers or face consequences. Yuusei tells Emma that family love is true love, and will keep them together during conflicts. During dinner, Emma confesses that she wants to be more like a family, to which everyone agrees, albeit hesitantly. That night, Kaname thanks Emma for coming. Fudo goes to Ima's room while she's sleeping and tries to initiate intimacy, but stops and admits he can't see her as family because he loves her. On their way home, the brothers take Emma to visit the graves of her birth parents, and she thanks them for accepting her. The episode ends with Hikaru showing a chart called Brothers Conflict to Wataru, explaining that those with the lowest scores are closest to winning. Emma feels upset about her dropping grades since coming back from vacation, especially with her entrance exam approaching. Seeing her sadness, everyone tries to lift her spirits by cooking for her and giving her good luck charms. On the day of the exam, everyone wishes her luck, which cheers her up. Yusuke also puts in his best effort to pass the exam alongside Emma. After the exam, Kaname offers to cheer Emma up, but she declines, mentioning that Louis gave her an iris flower from Iori, symbolizing good news. Kaname hints to Iori that Emma doesn't know the flower's second meaning, I will risk everything for love. Later, Natsume takes Emma to an arcade as a reward for her hard studying. Natsume intends to tell Emma something, but he pauses upon learning that Subaru has become a professional basketball player. He drops Emma off at home, and just as she wonders about his intentions, Natsume suddenly hugs her, catching Subaru's eye. Subaru, seeing this, punches Natsume, upset by his declaration of love for Emma. Natsume asserts his feelings for Emma, which further upsets Subaru, claiming he won't lose to someone who quits like Natsume. Later, Emma approaches Subaru's door and tells him that Natsume was thrilled to hear about his basketball career, surprising Subaru. The next morning, Subaru apologizes to Emma for blaming Natsume, asking her to forget his earlier words as he leaves. In a post-credit scene, Yusuke decides to confess his feelings to Emma once the exam results are posted. It's been a while since Subaru left the mansion, and hasn't contacted anyone. Emma worries if he's facing difficulties living alone. Just then, Masaami informs Emma that they received a call from Subaru, assuring she shouldn't fret because he's okay. He adds that other family members are also making changes. Iori plans to study abroad, and Kaname intends to continue his monk practice, so the house will feel a bit empty. When university results are announced, Emma learns she's been accepted, but Yusuke hasn't. She feels sad for him. Despite this, everyone congratulates her on her acceptance, and Emma bids farewell to Kaname and Iori. Kaname asks her to call him Oni-chan once, and Iori advises her to take care of her flowers and remember him. Later, Emma receives similar messages from Tsubaki and Azusa inviting her to an amusement park. After visiting the park, she expresses her love for them but explains that she sees them as family and can't return their romantic feelings. Though the twins are a bit saddened, they assure Emma of their continued love and kiss her hands. That night, Emma meets Subaru, who apologizes for punching Natsume and expresses his love for her. Emma shares her desire for a normal family, to which Subaru responds with a kiss on her forehead, promising his enduring love. On graduation day, everyone throws a surprise party for Emma. Yusuke surprises Hikaru by revealing he's been accepted into university as a backup candidate. During dinner, Fudo's televised message congratulates Emma and asserts his possessive love for her, causing tension among the brothers. Later, Emma talks to Natsume, explaining her decision not to date anyone due to seeing them as family. Natsume, though understanding, can't suppress his feelings and kisses her before apologizing and leaving. Hikaru later tells Emma that the rejections have intensified their feelings, and hints at a new round of competition. After the credits, the brothers vow not to give up on Emma. Subaru and Natsume reconcile but resolve to continue pursuing Emma. Tsubaki and Azusa decide not to give up either. Meanwhile, Fudo taunts Yusuke, but Yusuke remains determined not to lose. The season ends with Emma looking at pictures of her dad, and her 13 Asahina stepbrothers and stepmother deciding to be a supportive family member. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.